So about 2 weeks ago, I covered the ongoing Girls Frontline 2 cuckolding drama on my channel because honestly, I just found the whole thing to be hilarious. To give a quick TLDR of my last video, basically in the prequel game, Girls Frontline 1, players would self-insert as a commander whose subordinates are just a bunch of humanoid robot sex dolls that you can marry with oath rings. However, in the new game that is currently only out in China, Girls Frontline 2, your PMC disbands and then there was a 10-year time skip where your robot sex dolls just kind of do their own thing. And during that time, a doll named Diane made a huge blunder by talking with a male NPC, our guy, Mr. Raymond. And while Diane and Raymond never fucked in the story, just kind of talked with each other, it was still enough for the Chinese player base to develop an unhinged headcanon that Raymond was cuckolding them of their precious virtual waifu. Now, for a while, Raymond has actually been removed from the game and replaced by a female NPC, but the post-Raymond stress disorder still exists amongst the player base in a major way. And now we are at the point where Chinese theory crafters are coming up with some of the most ingenious and quite frankly hilarious theories that the Girls Frontline developers are putting hidden messages into their game to mock them. Last video, I covered the theory that Diane's lightning pendant referenced her relationship with Raymond, and if you thought that conspiracy was unhinged, well, it's nothing compared to the latest one that players are having a total meltdown over in the comment sections. In the latest high-level CN theory craft, players had linked in-game books to contain hidden messages that criticizes the player's hedonistic lust for their virtual anime wives, viciously mocks them for being cuckolded by Raymond, and vaguely suggests that the players should just off themselves for their immorality. Yeah, I'm sure none of that makes sense, so let's just take it from the start of this theory craft, which originates from the Girls Frontline 2 lounge area. So in Girls Frontline 2, there is an AFK lounge area where players can just stare at their collected humanoid sex dolls cycle through various animation loops. Currently watching a video from the channel Rexlin showing the lounge, and obviously this is just an area to blow your load in. However, on January 6th, a beautiful manifestation of ejaculatory epiphany dwelled onto a certain Chinese theory crafter to take a closer look at the book this doll here is reading. And turns out, multiple dolls in the lounge were reading a page from a Jewish Bible. The page that the humanoid is looking at happens to be from the Book of Esther. The Book of Esther tells the story of people who endured humiliation and served the king of Persia. Don't you understand what the production team of Girls Frontline 2 means? It's the humanoid that endures the humiliation and serves the commander. Also, female Raymond is called Esther, and also Esther means star, which happens to be the same name as a certain writer. So last video, I laid out how our GigaChad Raymond was replaced by a female NPC who for some reason I thought was renamed Doolily. Well, turns out the replacement for Raymond is named Esther, sharing the same name as the protagonist in the Book of Esther. And in terms of Esther being the Hebrew word for star, there is speculation that the lead writer for Girls Frontline 2 pen name is Star. So according to players, this Book of Esther basically implies that Raymond and the writing team are heroic and the player is evil. In conclusion, the writer is hinting that the dolls are enduring humiliation while serving the commander, and that she and Raymond are the real lonely heroes. Overall, Miss Star is disgustingly mocking the players in every corner of the game, comparing herself to a lonely hero and portraying the players as oppressors forcing the dolls into marriage. This is truly disgusting. It's intolerable. I can't take it anymore. And shortly after this schizo posting occurred, the developers removed this book from the game. Unfortunately, similar to what happened when Raymond was removed from the game, this removal more so ignited an unfestered amount of autism to coordinate and weaponize effectively. In addition to the Judaism Bible being removed, players also noticed 3 additional books removed after the patch. A black book on the coffee table was removed, and a green book and a blue book next to the bed were also removed. And identifying these 3 mystery books didn't take long, so here we have the black book being identified as Tolkien's famous fantasy, The Lord of the Rings, which checks out, and the other 2 books were identified as The Handmaid's Tale and Ulysses. And finally, we have all the ingredients needed for perhaps one of the most unhinged conspiracies I've seen in a while. And keep in mind, this is all related back to Raymond, virtually cucking an entire player base. First, we have The Lord of the Rings, which is a fantasy novel whose title refers to the story's main antagonist, the Dark Lord Sauron, who creates the One Ring that gives the power of command ability of dominating minds. You, as the commander in Girls Frontline 1, are the Lord of the Rings, as you give your dolls oath rings to enslave them into marriage. Next, we have The Handmaid's Tale, which is a futuristic dystopian novel written by Margaret Atwood. It depicts a world where women known as handmaids are forcibly assigned to produce children for the commanders, who are the patriarchal ruling class in the world. The dolls in Girls Frontline represent the handmaids, and the players are the commanders. Then we have Ulysses by James Joyce, and in that novel, an affair occurs, which is linked to Diane's supposed cheating on you with Raymond. And last, but not least, is the one book still left in the game, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. This novel tells the story of an African tribesman who was expelled from his clan for 7 years, and when he finally returns from exile to his homeland, he finds that he no longer has any place as a man in this new society tainted by Western imperialism. This realization drives him to suicide. This is a reference to how you, the commander, are exiled from the Griffin PMC in Girls Frontline 1 by your dolls, and when you once again make contact with your dolls 10 years later, you'll learn that these humanoid sex dolls all despise you and have cheated on you with other men, due to you viewing them as sexual objects in the first game. Thus, the developers are suggesting players should kill themselves in regret for their immorality. And that summarizes majority of the theory. But to top it all off, since it's China, obviously we need to add a little bit of a weird political angle to it all. So in the game's command room, there are multiple maps, and one of them is just a replica of the Middle East. And since it's the Middle East, obviously the Gaza Strip is on the map, and well, you probably see where this is going. The Chinese theory crafters have also concluded that Girls Frontline 2 is a metaphor in that you play as the evil Hamas terrorist commander, enslaving the beautiful Israeli doll soldiers. And that about catches us up with the latest iteration of the Girls Frontline cuckoldry drama. Bear in mind while I read comments for the rest of this video that this all started due to an imaginary headcanon that a fictional anime male cucked players of their virtual anime waifu. Alright, let's take a look at the latest from the Girls Frontline 2 Chinese review page. Wow, The Book of Esther, The Lord of the Rings, The Handmaid's Tale, and Things Fall Apart. Really talented, well played. You're great, you're perfect, and I'm flawed. You can scold me now, I'm guilty, you got me, I'll kill myself now. Play Girls Frontline 2 and become a cyber Hamas commander. The commander is Hamas and the humanoids are indeed Israeli heavenly soldiers. Metaphorically satirizing players as cuck, loser, otakus, enslaving females isn't even the most shocking thing, but promoting Judaism without a license is in violation of the law. Go to the relevant authorities and report it, everyone. Laughing so hard. Just finished mocking the player with Lord of the Rings, suggesting the player is enslaving humanoids. Now you're going to launch a new oath system, huh? Although it's not done yet, I'm already laughing at the thought of it. A bunch of humanoids doing prostitution for 10 years, only to come back to the commander to patch up and refresh affection levels. How about renaming this piece of rags you made Jewish Frontline 2 Chasing Whores? I just saw a humanoid hold the book upside down. I don't think it is an accident at all. The book is placed upside down because it is meant for you as the player to read. It is similar to the 95 lightning pendant held out for you to read. The writer just likes mocking people. The game is full of mysteries. Damn. Playing this game, I become the oppressor. I become the slave master. Thank God I don't play it, because if I did, I would kill myself. Calling yourselves and the female Raymond the lonely heroes? How arrogant. If you can't write, then don't. If you can't learn from a Hoyo, then don't try. I finally understand why the others ran away. Yu Shuang is not suitable for making games, even less suitable for being a person. Girls Frontline, more like Gaza Frontline, so it turns out that the commander is Hamas. No wonder there is a shortage of manpower, a lack of supplies, and life is tough. It all makes sense now. The 4 Easter egg books in the Girls Frontline 2 lounge are so outrageous. The evil male ruling class called Commanders, The Handmaid's Tale. controls and enslaves the poor Jewish humanoid girl with one magic ring, the Book of Esther and the Lord of the Rings. Eventually, the humanoids drive the commander at a griffin, but 7 years later, the commander returns, only to find himself cuckolded to the point of regret and suicide. Things fall apart. It makes me laugh so hard. It seems that Jewish capital is really all pervasive. Will there be traitors and spies in the two-dimensional game industry? It still feels a bit far-fetched. If nothing else, I don't understand. In the book Lord of the Rings, isn't it about a group of people snatching a ring? Why is it interpreted as using a ring to enslave others, implying a proof of the contract? Again, a coincidence is a coincidence, and every coincidence is not a coincidence. This is no longer a problem of games against nature. This is ideological infiltration, subtly using games or other media to make young people, the majority of the group who play games, accept wrong or even hostile guidance. Will cause them to be infiltrated by this ideology. They will even subvert our own country. If you don't believe it, look at the Soviet Union. Brothers, keep your eyes peeled. This is pure traitorous behavior.